Storms of life have got you down. Waves are crashing all around. It seems you're about to lose control as troubled waters flood your soul. Friend, don't lose your faith by pride. Straight ahead to God in mind. If what you're riding it won't flow, by faith just get out of the boat. Oh, try walking on the water. First up the marks a stepping stone. Keep your eyes on the Master, and He will lead you safely home. Sometimes never stopping captain, but bringing His true safety in. Oh, He's alive and alive, and to the lost you'll be searching. One day in all the storm was raging, fear gripped the hearts of all on board. But old Peter saw a vision. He said it looked just like the Lord. Lord, did you mean unto you? Words that Peter cried behold. And when he received the answer, by faith he stepped out of the boat. Oh, try walking on the water. Turn something marks the stepping stone. Oh, keep your eyes upon the Master, and He will lead you safely home. Sometimes never stopping captain, frustrating His true safety in. Oh, He's alive and alive, and to the lost He'll be their friend. Praise God. So we appreciate the Lord, appreciate His goodness. Turn your Bibles to the book of Psalm, chapter 68. 68 Psalm. We'll start reading the first verse. He said, "Let God arise, let His enemies be scattered. Let them also that hate Him flee before Him. As smoke is driven away, so drive them away. As wax melteth before the fire, so let the wicked perish as at the presence of God. But let the righteous be glad. Let them rejoice before God. Yea, let them exceedingly rejoice." Thank you for staying for reading. And I thought this is a psalm or a song of David. As I began to think about this week, and I've read over this scripture several times this week. Let God arise, and let the enemies be scattered. Let them also that hate Him flee before Him. And I began to think about this scripture, and I thought David, if there was ever a man that could that had enemies, David had enemies. He was sought after, desired to have him destroyed. But as I read this, and I realized that David realized that he had to rely upon God when it came to his enemies. And I began to think about that, and I thought, no doubt there's somebody here tonight who has a need in their life, and they're feeling like or maybe you're feeling like you're in a fight for your life. And I thought, and sometimes we feel like we've done all that we know to do, but it's simply to no avail. And I thought, we're not just tired of fighting. We're just tired of. Sometimes we just get overwhelmed with the situations around us.
Right.
And I thought. I began to think about that this week, and I began to talk to the Lord about situations and circumstances that many times are beyond our control. There's nothing that we can do about circumstance. And we may ask why. Sometimes we look at the circumstance and the situation, and it seems like the fight that's always there. And, but tonight, I guess the question I would like to ask is why are we doing the fighting? And I thought, if I title this tonight, I simply titled it, Don't Fight, Let God. Although I never was one that liked to fight. Never did enjoy getting in the fight. There was a few times that I got into some scuffles. Sometimes I came out to the good. A lot of times I didn't come out so good, Brother John. But I thought, but the fights that I'm talking about tonight, it's not nothing carnal.
Right.
But it's a spiritual fight that we're facing daily. I thought Winston Churchill, he made the quote whenever they were in the war, and he said, "We shall fight on the beaches, we shall fight on the landing grounds, we shall fight in the fields and the streets, and we shall fight in the hills." And he said, "We shall never surrender." And I thought, we're in a battle, and I thought we can't surrender, Brother David. We've got to continue on. I thought, but the thing that we're fighting, I thought Winston Churchill, they were fighting a physical battle, and he was trying to give words of encouragement that they were never going to give up, that they were going to win, and I thought. And I thought if I could tonight, I would just like to give us some encouragement that the things that we're facing, I thought, are not going to be forever. I thought we are going to overcome. A lot of times it seems like they just the circumstances drag on, and we seem like we can't come out. But I thought, but we're serving a living God.
That's right.
And I thought, like I said, many of us, we're fighting a battle. And I thought it's one thing to fight when you can see your opponent. But I thought we're fighting a battle when we cannot even see the enemy. I thought, and it's bad whenever you're being blindsided.
Right.
I thought if you've ever pulled anything with a vehicle or towed anything, and I remember just in a car one day. Dave was real young, and he and I went to Lexington by ourselves for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe at that time I had a Nissan. I probably went over and had to get it serviced or something. I don't remember what the situation was, but we were coming back up the interstate, and I went to get over. I was in the left lane, went to get over it, and I went right over on the car. And there was a lady driving the car, and the look she gave me whenever I realized I was on her, Brother David, and she got around me. And I thought, because when I looked at my mirror, I thought I had to clear, but I didn't see the blind side. And I thought, since then I've pulled several things with trucks and drove some larger trucks, and when you look through your mirrors, you've always got those blind sides. I know Brother Danny and Brother Lester drive a truck every day, and you've got to be careful. You've got to be cautious of the blind sides. And as I began to think about that, I thought when we're fighting this battle, and as we're going upon our journey, I thought we're going to have a lot of blind sides. that we've got to worry about. The opponent is there behind us, and if we're not careful, we will find ourselves in a situation that's beyond our control.
That's right.
But we've got to trust in God. I thought he said in verse 1, he said, "Let God arise, let his enemies be scattered, let them also that hate him flee before him." And I thought David realized that if he was going to win the battles that he was facing, that he had to let God be elevated above everything else.
That's right.
And I thought so many times we're failing to elevate God to where he needs to be.
Right.
I thought, there's just circumstances that we face. Sometimes we realize that as we get older, we realize our circumstances that we can't control like we used to. I thought we listened to Brother Kevin Lloyd there this afternoon at the house. And he's preaching on Brother Randy's. I don't know if he was there when he preached or not. Yeah. But he was talking about his kids. Brother Kevin is older than I am. And his oldest daughter is about Sister Laura's age. And then he had them, I think he said 11, 10, and 7. I don't know. And he said his kids decided they want to play hide and seek. And he was playing with them. And he realized that even though he was much larger, much stronger, he thought he could outrun them. But he realized that age soon got on him. He got to turn a horse with both legs. And his opponents was soon upon him. And I thought that sometimes when we begin to face things physically, I thought we realize that our opponent is rapidly coming up on us. And because of the circumstances, there's absolutely nothing that we can do about it. But I thought the thing that we're doing so many times is we're turning and we're trying to fight the battles that the enemy's bringing upon us. We're trying to fight them materialistically. We think that we can handle these things on our own. I thought, I feel like I'm struggling here tonight. Maybe we're moving a little slow. But I thought that David went on to say, "As smoke is driven away, so drive them away. And as wax melteth before the fire, so let the wicked perish at the presence of God." And I thought the ones that we see as that are sometimes we look at them as our enemies. We've got to realize that a lot of times they're not necessarily the enemy. They're just the instrument that's being used by the enemy.
That's right.
And I thought a lot of times we'll turn and we'll try to rail, we'll try to say something, we'll try to avenge ourselves. And I thought, but we cannot avenge ourselves. We've got to entrust it in the hand of God. I thought, like I said earlier when I was growing up, I never liked to fight. But Colin and Jonah lived there right beside each other. And Jonah's a year older than Colin, but Colin's bigger than him. And when they get together, it don't take very long till they're arguing and they're fighting. And but when you bring it to their attention, they're not fighting. They're just they love one another. They want to be together. And we was talking about it the other day with my sister-in-law, and she was there at the house, and I began to think about whenever I was a kid. Kenneth and Frankie was right at my age. Frankie just 7 months older than me, and I liked to be there. I wanted to be with them. Kenneth and I never did fight much. Kenneth was a lot bigger than I was. But me and Frankie, we'd get together, and within an hour or so, we was already into it. But when it got time to go home, I didn't want to go home. I wanted to be there, and I thought, but a lot of times, but as I begin to think about that, and I begin to think about those altercations, I guess you would say, that we would have, and those times that we would have those disagreements, and I thought, but it wasn't too long that we would forget about it. We'd be back together, back doing playing or doing whatever we were doing, and I thought, but yet a lot of times we look and the enemy has those things coming in at us, and even though we would rather not get involved in the altercation, I thought, Steve, we find ourselves being drawn into things, right. And I thought it's easy for us to be drawn into something that necessarily we don't want to be involved in. because of the pressure that's being applied to us.
Right.
And I thought it may be my feeble attempt tonight. I thought as I began to think about that, I thought, how many times has the enemy come by and just simply begin to apply that pressure to try to draw us in, to try to get us to stumble up, to try to get us to avenge ourselves. And I thought, but what we've got to do is realize that we're trusting in God. David knew that if he could entrust all of his enemies into the hands of God, that just as smoke, and I thought, have you ever built a fire and you watch the smoke as it begins to arise, and as it gets up and begins to rise into the sky, and you begin to rapidly see it dissipate as it gets up, and the higher it goes, and it soon just fades away. And I thought, because that's as the pressures and the things in the atmosphere begin to dissolve those things. And I thought, and we've all seen the wax on the candle, and as it begins to run down and it begins to burn, and you'll see a little bit run down the side of the candle. But where did the rest of that go? As it began to evaporate under the heat. And I thought, we begin to think about that, and I thought, our enemies, that the enemy is trying to make look so great and look like that they're sure to overtake us. If we can just trust God.
Right.
I thought we can soon see how those things are dissolved from our presence.
Right.
And I thought so many times we're trying to fight the battles on our own. I thought we need to entrust in God. And I thought, as I begin to think about that, I thought that he said, but let the righteous be glad, and let them rejoice before God. Yea, let them exceedingly rejoice. And I thought, whenever we can overcome the enemy, I thought we have a right to rejoice. I thought sometimes we come and maybe like we are tonight, and it's somewhat of a press. We had a wonderful spirit here this morning, and there's a good spirit here tonight. But it seems like maybe I don't know if we're tired or maybe all of us dads grilled out today and we got overtook by the heat. I don't know what the situation was, but yet maybe we're moving a little slow tonight. But I thought when we begin to think about how that we're able to overcome our enemies and can be glad. I thought, we live in a world that says they're happy. You talk to people that are involved in the things of this world, and the Bible says that there's pleasure in sin for a season.
That's right.
But I thought the problem with sin is the effects that it has on life.
That's right.
And I began to think about that, and I read a little story. It says that a lady was walking down the street, noticed an old man sitting on his porch in a rocking chair, and he seemed so happy. And she walked up to him and said, "What's the secret of your long, happy life?" And the man said, "Well, I smoke 3 packs of cigarettes a day. I drink a case of whiskey a week, and I eat fatty foods, and I never exercise." And this brought amazement to the lady, and she said, "Well, that's amazing that you're this old and you've done all that. How old are you?" He said, "I'm 36. And see, the lifestyle that he had lived, even though it gave the appearance that he had lived a long life and he was happy, but the problem was that his lifestyle had overtaken him.
That's right.
And I thought, whenever the enemy comes and when we're trying our best to forward for the things of God, and he tries to overtake us and make us feel like that we're useless, that we're going to lose, that there's no reason we should continue on in this journey that we're going on, and tries to bring those things back. I thought, just look to the side of the things of this world.
Right.
I thought, there's no happiness there.
Right.
There's no peace in the things of this world. And I thought, our only peace comes from serving God.
Right.
And knowing the true God.
Yes.
And I thought, allowing God to take care of our situations. I thought, there's some circumstances in my life or in that surrounded me, I guess you would say, that I would like to do something about. Well, Sparks made mention to him this morning. So, some things in his life that he would like to just grab a hold of and fix. But I cannot do that. It's beyond my control. But I thought, I'm serving a God that is able. And I thought, when we look around and we see circumstances that's beyond our control, and we look at them and we wonder, Lord, what's the outcome of this? We got to realize God is in control. But there's some circumstances just a few weeks ago, and it really started to bother me. And Sister Kathy, she and I never talked about it much, but obviously it was concerning her. And we were both been praying to God about it. We've seen God just come in and just miraculously move in that situation. And some pull and some draw that didn't need to be there. And he just simply just moved it out. And as I looked at that, and I thought, God, if you're able to do that much, then the rest of it, you're going to take care of that too. And I thought, when the enemy was coming and saying, you might as well give up. There's no need fighting. There's no need continuing on praying about these situations. And then when God moves in that little bit, then we realize God's going to take care of the rest of it. I thought what the problem is, so many times we're looking at the circumstance and we're saying, this is so big. There's absolutely nothing that can be done about it. But I thought when we entrusted into God, I thought our enemies were just like the vapor of the smoke and will vanish away. I thought, well, we've got to allow God to take care of it. I thought we can't fight these battles on our own. And I thought we studied the same Sunday school lesson this morning that y'all did in the adult class. And people get caught up in the things of the law and all these things, and then it gets into the churches, and that's not to be so. And I thought, what we've got to do is just trust in God's hands. And I thought, when we entrust it to God, I thought we're serving God to take it. As they come against the song, my people of Tim, I feel like I've delivered what I had on my heart tonight. But I thought we've got to be willing to step back and let God. I thought as a supervisor or a manager, one of the hardest things that I have to do, Brother Harold, is trying to train somebody to do something, and then I'm sitting there and I'm needing it done, and they're not doing it fast enough, and then me just stepping in and just taking over. I've done it time and time again, and I know what the job requires, and I know what it takes to do it, and I want to get it done. And so a lot of times we do the same things spiritually. We look at the certain, and we think that we know how to get it done. I thought what we've got to do there is we've got to trust it to God. We have to. And I thought this past week, we had two guys on vacation, and man and his stepson both worked there, and I had both of them in positions where their job has to be done, and I didn't have nobody else trained to do their job. And so going in the morning, I'd get part of it done, and then I'd jump over and finish the other one.